Efendim yine çok kıymetli bir şefimiz var sırada. 2017'de açtığı restoranı Ikoyi'yle bugün 2 Michelin yıldızına sahip. Baharat, aroma ve kişisel deneyimleri ustalıkla harmanlayan, çağdaş mutfağın en yaratıcı genç şeflerinden biri. Bugün arkada da hazırlıklarını görüyorsunuz. Güzel bir demosu olacak. Yüksek alkışlarınızla davet ediyorum. Şef Jeremy Chen geliyor. Look at the applause. This is for you. Have a good session.
Hello. Uh, I'm very grateful to be back here in Istanbul, and forever grateful for the amazing hospitality of Gastromasa. The pull of the warmth I feel coming back to Istanbul, it's always irresistible, and I can never turn down an invitation from Gökmen to come and cook and talk for everyone here. One of the reasons I really like the theme of the Congress this year is that it asked me to look back on the last 10 years of my life as a chef and the restaurant that I own with my partner, Ire. Why did we begin this journey? Who knows? Owning a creative restaurant has pushed us to some of the most exhilarating highs and some of the most excruciating lows. The highs for me come from chasing that blissful moment of witnessing the beauty in cooking, the point when we know that timing, temperature, and nature are in unison, the perfect pearlescent shine of a turbot sliced just after grilling, the slick reflective sharpness of a radiant sauce, and wild herbs so crisp and angular their natural state of being elevates a dish into something from another world. This feeling that I chase has been a romantic journey, and sometimes it has led to difficulties. From all the times I didn't get it right, what I thought I saw in my food, others did not, to the days the restaurant was almost empty because it seemed no one understood our cooking. And not to mention the challenges of instilling this vision in others, especially my team, to create an experience that is consistently sharp, as it's only the smallest changes that differentiate a kind of perfection that we're looking for in cooking, or a very small tragedy. For me, the essence of cooking is about unlocking and revealing the hidden truths about ingredients that exist just beneath the surface. Sometimes the answer is so simple. It's not always about the difficulty of how you get there, but whether or not you're able to see something within nature that is more than what meets the eye. The technique, the stroke of the knife, or perspective can be so simple, yet so transformative. The kitchen at Ikoyi, for me, symbolizes a never-ending search for identity because we're not cooking within a specific culinary tradition. And while I chase that ephemeral moment of beauty, I also change as a person. My perspectives, my tastes, my temperament, all of these have gone through stages of maturing in my life, and I will always continue to evolve. And because of this human evolution, the very definition of this beauty also changes as I see and know more. And herein lies the obsession and the hunt for something unattainable. This journey can be lonely and often feels like you're in the dark. After all these years, what keeps me grounded and connected and guides me in this process are the seasons and the ingredients they bring. Now more than ever as a chef, I try to look as closely as possible at what's in front of me to formulate my sense of identity. Sung-hee, chef from the restaurant, has come with me today. I'm very lucky to have her. She's been with us for 2.5 years. We're going to cook 3 different preparations from the restaurant that reveal how we work with seasonality. I think this is the best method to reveal to an audience what the identity of the restaurant is today and how closely it's tied to its producers and the seasonal changes of produce. So we could start searing squid toast. So the first preparation we're going to do today, it's called drunken squid. It's one of the concepts that I'm really excited about at the restaurant because it's kind of unusual. It's something I've never seen before, and I don't know where it came from. It just came to me. but it really symbolizes how we aim to capture seasonality in its peak state. So we start with the squid. The squid is a pencil squid. It's line-caught wild squid from Cornwall, which is the southwest of England. And winter time, well, early autumn to January is peak season for squid, especially when they're caught deeper because they're fattier and richer. So we take the body of the squid and we remove its ink. And the first thing we do with that is blend the ink with some marinated rice and spices, and we ferment it for about 24 hours, and we create this kind of batter, squid toast batter, and ferments like to a very, very aerated, beautiful, soft texture, and we then ferment it a second time, and then it's steamed, and you have this beautiful, almost mochi-like texture of the toast. So once we've steamed the toast, we take the body of the squid. Do you have the squid? Outside? Oh. Sorry guys, there's some squid back there I think should be here. Sorry, squid's coming. So the squid is confit, so it tenderizes the body, and then some of the other parts of the squid are... here we go. Sorry about that. So we take the body of the squid, and it's confit because we wanted to just take out that bite that you get from the squid, something raw, but we also wanted to keep some of that bite because that's also what's special about raw squid, the sweetness, but also the texture. But the texture's a little bit too chewy, I think, if you serve it in large pieces. So what we do is we take half of the body and we finely dice it, really, really fresh, and we take the other part of the body and it's confit. Once it's confit, we blend it into this very smooth paste, squid paste, and we emulsify it with a wine. It's Vin Jaune, and it's emulsified with some sesame oil and Vin Jaune infused with dried spices and dried mushrooms. So it has a really beautiful oxidated aromatic taste. So we have this beautiful squid that's been roasted, and then we glaze it with this paste. We call it squid butter. It's the tentacles of the squid, some of the entrails and the wings, and they're baked slowly in the oven. And you get the amazing caramelized texture of the squid, which has a completely different flavor profile to something fresh and something confit. There's something amazing about roasted crustaceans, but mollusks, the roasted flavor of mollusk is something else. Should we do pumpkin? So the second element of the dish is the curry pumpkin, peak season right now. These are matured for 10 days before we serve them in the restaurant. And they're very sweet, very intense pumpkin. So what we do with the pumpkin is we slice some of it very thinly. And we bake it in the oven with a little bit of saffron honey butter. So the saffron gives this like intense orange character to the butter and the honey. And so it reveals more of the orange that's within the curry pumpkin itself. And it gives it more of an aromatic, more decadent taste. Underneath the squid, let's go for it. We have also a paste we make with the whole roasted pumpkin. We like the idea of doing something refined with the pumpkin, something sharp, but also using the whole pumpkin itself. So we roast the whole pumpkin with aromatics and garlic, and then we crush it into a paste, and we serve it underneath the squid. And what you have is this taste of autumn, this taste of this time of year. We put cinnamon, we put different spices in it, but not too strong, just enough so you get a little hint of that spice at the back of your throat. So once we've finished shaping the squid, we have some, go for it. tomato water reduction. So instead of using something like soy, we've preserved a lot of the juices of the tomatoes from summer, and we've reduced it to this really intense caramel. And it gives this very intense, like acidic form of umami to the squid. Any chance you can show this to the guys? Okay. So this is the squid toast. I hope you can see it. Anyway, it's the squid, confit, hand-chopped, marinated with vanjon over a toast of its ink, fermented with rice and slices of the curry pumpkin. The next serving we're going to do is dry-aged scallops. So dry-aging fish is not something I would call myself an expert in, but it's something that's kind of grown naturally in the restaurant that we work in today, because we try to work with a lot of line-caught, hand-dived produce, and you don't always have the ability to control the timing of when this type of produce is available, and sometimes you don't need scallops or you have enough produce, but you don't want to miss that moment. And so the dry-aging aspect of this dish really came about because I needed a way to preserve something with quality. And what's really interesting about the dry aging of scallops is you really want to balance the meatiness, the sweetness of the scallop, that's what we're going for, without over-aging the scallop so that it becomes hammy. So what we do with the scallop is we shuck them live. They have to be pristine, beautiful scallops. We shuck them live, and then we put them in a very cold ager, and we allow a very thin membrane to form on the outer layer of the scallop. Once that membrane is formed, we tend to cover the scallop on and off to monitor the depth of that membrane to ensure that the inside doesn't dry too much. Because we still want the guest to eat the scallop and have it feel like something fresh and something sweet. And the flavor is still very delicate, and the scallop is 10-day aged, and it has almost like a butterscotch, fudgy texture to it. So we serve the scallop with a lot of different seasonal condiments. On the base, there is something quite rich. We call it pistachio pudding. And I call it pudding because it reminds me of the American pudding that you have for like dessert, chocolate pudding. It has this kind of fattiness and richness. So we make fresh pistachio milk, and we emulsify it with tarragon oil and some green split peas. And so green split peas, they have the starchiness of like a chickpea, so it gives a little bit of body and a little bit of texture to the scallop. So we marinate the scallop with some salted citrus and chili juice, a little bit of olive oil, and then we have some different preparations that go with the scallop. This is English quince. It's beautiful, beautiful fruit, and we roast it. So quince is an interesting ingredient. It can be quite tart, quite crunchy when raw, but it also gets very soft very quickly. So it's really about finding that moment of when quince has the perfect texture. So it's actually very simple. It's kind of what I was saying earlier. We just roast it for about 6 minutes at quite a low temperature, and we just feel the quince until it has that perfect tender feeling. And then we cool it down, and basically what you have is a quince that feels like a ripe fruit, but is actually a roasted fruit. And then we slice it, and we make a very intense paste with rosemary and garlic. And so we didn't want the quince to be used as a fruit. We wanted it to have this vegetal quality to it. So that's why the garlic and the rosemary, it gives it something familiar, something kind of comforting. So we have the roasted quince. We have some preserved cucumber, sweet bell turnips. And then we have this juice, which is made with plums, some chili, and oil from preserved fig leaves. and then we finish with the scallop. We tend not to season the scallop because I think the aged quality has such a pure character to it. The salt, I think it takes too much out of the sweetness of the scallop. Go for it. And then we finish with this beautiful salted, fermented, dried quince, which is fermented for 5 weeks. The juices are pressed out, and then it's semi-dried. And it really tastes a little bit like a Chinese plum. It's something very reminiscent of my childhood. So we have, to finish, the salted, fermented plum, some fresh slices of conference pear. This is beautiful pears that are just in season right now in England. And then slices of black mint, also called huacatai. I believe it's a Peruvian style variety of mint, but it's grown in England and gives a very tropical taste to the dish. And so really love this preparation because even though it comes from the UK, you don't think of of England as having this very tropical, aromatic, explosive types of flavors in British cuisine, but it's something that we were able to create in the restaurant with autumn produce. Okay, last dish, something very different. We have sweetbreads and the set mushrooms. So set mushrooms, Scottish set mushrooms. They're confit. And interestingly, with the set mushroom, they don't need to be confit very long because we like the al dente texture. They soak up a lot of fat, and almost the soaking up of the fat itself cooks the mushroom. It gives it this sense of doneness just by being in fat for several minutes. I think if you confit them too long, seps tend to develop this kind of mushy, strange texture. So we really want to keep that al dente aspect of the sep. Sweetbreads. These are, I think, like one of the most unique preparations that we have at Ikoyi. They're brined for about 2 days in a solution of salted milk, and then we strain them off and confit them in very aromatic beef fat for about 3 hours. And I think the purpose of that is to set all the protein within the sweetbread. Once they're confit, they're chilled, a little bit higher, and we leave them to set overnight without pressing. So this sep, it's been confit in a very aromatic butter, and I find that it almost has the taste and texture of hazelnuts. And I think that's something really special about cooking, is when you can take an ingredient and present it to someone and have them change their perception of what's possible with the ingredient. Can you heat these guys up? So the sweetbread, once it's been confit and set, we pan-sear it in a little bit of cornstarch. And in the restaurant, what we normally do is pan-sear it, then we grill it, then it's smoked over hay, and then lacquered with a gravy we make with poultry reduction. But today we're just gonna roast it for you. We serve it with a few different condiments. We have some grits. It's very similar to a polenta, almost like a coarse polenta. And inside there is a British cheese called Doddington, which is a very sort of lighter than Parmesan, but it has that familiar kind of umami depth that a Parmesan has. Spinach ready? Great. Sweetbread butter. So once the sweetbread is roasted, I'm just going to clear out the pan. I'm going to put it back in with this butter we call sweetbread butter. It's kind of the secret recipe to the dish. It's butter that's been whipped with lots of different aromatic spices and some dried fruit powder. And the dried fruit and the spices give a little bit of acidity, a little bit of sweetness to the sweetbread. So it stays very, very meaty, very, very crispy, very, very dense, but still has, that sense of otherness, something sweet, something salty, something aromatic as well. I think we can get that hotter. Thank you. So I wanted to cook today because I felt like I wouldn't have enough to say and I'd run out of time, but maybe I've gone a little too long here. So we're just finishing up here. The grits with Doddington cheese, very similar to a polenta. Can you glaze the sweetbread? Thank you. Then greens that are cooked with roasted turnip tops. Thank you. The set mushroom. And some sweet plums marinated with wine and hibiscus. Some unripe strawberries from the summer. And then the sweetbread, beautiful lacquered sweetbread, poultry gravy infused with red Kampot peppercorn. And that's it. Those are the three dishes. And, excuse me, I hope that gives you a sense of what it is we're doing at the restaurant today and how I would like to articulate the identity of Ikoyi. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you. Did I go?